Okay, so if you clicked on this video, you're most likely in high school and you're kind of freaking out because you don't know what you want to do with your life. So today's your lucky day because in this video, I'm going to give you 5 steps that you can be taking right now to make this life decision easier on you. So before we go on, I want to introduce myself. I am Karis and I am a life coach for young adults. So pretty much what I do is I help young adults figure out what it is that they want to do with their life. All that being said, I'm just going to dive right into the very first tip I have for you if you are in high school and you want to identify what kind of career path you want to go towards. And that is first identify your talents and your skills. Get a piece of paper out and just start writing down things you're good at. And by this, I don't mean if you're good at science or math, like the things that we get tested in school. No, that's not what I mean. I mean literally just anything that you're good at. I mean, if you're good at math and science, like write that down, but maybe you're just really good with kids. Because the truth is, you want to pursue a career that you're going to be good at. And what better way to start than to identify some of your natural talents and skills. And then from there, you can go on and try to find career fields that can fit those talents and skills that you have. Number 2, identify your limiting belief systems. Limiting belief systems are exactly what they sound like. They're belief systems that are super limiting. Some example of limiting belief systems is maybe your parents have told you in order to be successful, you have to have a very high paying job. And so maybe you are very interested in the arts and creative world. And a lot of times people assume that is a world where you wouldn't get paid as much. And so maybe your parents have, without you even knowing it, kind of pressured you to choose a more practical career, such as like being a doctor or an engineer. And without even knowing it, you might end up choosing a career field based on what you've been taught your whole life. So try to identify some of these belief systems that you have. If there is a career path that you already are thinking about, ask yourself if this is something you truly want to go into or if this is something you're doing just because you think your parents will be happy with you. Number 3, identify people who have impacted you. Think back to a time where you have just really felt impacted by somebody. Maybe a 3rd grade teacher of yours made you feel very loved and appreciated during class. Maybe there was a guest speaker that came and spoke at your school and you really felt touched. Just try to think back to those times where you have felt impacted. Identifying the things that have impacted you will help you kind of identify in general what it is that you love and what it is that you are passionate about. And similar to identifying your talents and skills, if you can identify your passions and the things that really impacted you, it will make it a little easier to figure out what it is that you could possibly see yourself doing in the future. So go back and think about the different times where others have impacted you. Number 4, this one is really important, so make sure you tune in. And that is, identify your passions and your purpose. Because here's the thing, in order to identify what you should do with your life and what kind of career paths you should go after, you have to figure out what you're passionate about. If you don't know what your passions are, it's going to be really hard to know what you want to do with life. And I've actually done an entire separate video on this topic where I go in depth on how to identify your passions. I'll link it down below if you want to check that out. But try to find what you're passionate about and what you feel like is your purpose. And if you can figure out the answers to those kind of questions, it'll be a lot easier to then go on and figure out a career path. And the last tip I have for you is start now. What do I mean by that? Most of us, we spend a lot of time freaking out and not knowing what to do, and so we do nothing. But instead, we can actually start now. We don't have to wait until we graduate. We don't have to wait until we go to college to figure out what we want to do with our life. You can start now by volunteering at different places, because if you don't actually go out and do things, you're never going to find out what you like. If you love kids, maybe go and volunteer at a preschool, like anything that you feel like you're passionate about, try to find ways you can go and work in that environment. Okay, I have one more bonus tip for you before I end this video. This one's also really important, so please listen to this. And that is, please do not put so much pressure on yourself. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. I know you just want to figure out what you want to do with your life and figure out what college you wanted to attend, and it's just so stressful to not have anything figured out. But the truth is, at the end of the day, we're not going to end up doing just one thing for the rest of our lives. Yes, sometimes that is the case. Sometimes, you know, people will go into nursing and they are a nurse for the rest of their lives, and that's cool. But for most of us, we're going to have various jobs. You know, our passions and what drives us, those are all going to change throughout our life. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we go into. What matters is that we are always going to be willing to learn and grow. Because if you're someone who will always be willing to learn and grow, then you're going to be able to find a job, you know? You're going to always find something that you can do. So don't put so much stress on yourself. Don't worry so much about what career you're going into, because most likely it's gonna change in a few years. But all that being said, like, I understand it would be nice to kind of have some of these questions answered before, you know, you go to college and end up wasting a lot of money or whatnot. So I hope this video was a little helpful, and if you do want to work with me one-on-one and have me like guide you and help you identify your true purpose and your passions in life, so that we can then identify what kind of career fields you should go into, I will love to work with you. So I'll just have my website linked down below, and you can just go from there. But that is it for today. Don't forget to check out the other video I mentioned earlier. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my channel. But that is all for today, and until next time, bye!